Good day to you. Welcome aboard. The data centers, okay? I want to explain the data centers again, okay? Because people are still asking questions about, they're worried about the data centers. The data centers will never come to fruition, okay? Because they're all built on hard drives. They're all built on the old, it's like you got two phones, okay? Let's look at it this way. Okay, say for example, I've got one phone here and I got one phone here, okay? Example. This phone has hard drives, okay? Let's just say that this phone has or is driven through hard drives. This is what operates this phone. This phone is frequency. Doesn't have a hard drive. It's built off frequency, okay? That's what the data centers are doing. This is a data center that's all built, and Trump is out there saying, oh, yeah, you're doing a great job. Go ahead, keep building them. Yeah, no problem. We got things happening. You're going to be able to do this or do that. And these guys are, frothing at the mouth, spending billions and billions of dollars on this. That's not going to be, it's not going to be used for anything good in the end. They're not going to have, what they think. They're not going to be able to use their data centers for whatever evil purpose they have to use it for, because we are not going to be going with the old system anymore. Our new system is quantum. It's going to be frequency, off-planet frequency. Everything that's every component that will be tied to us will be tied to our frequency. There is going to be no such thing as hard drives anymore. So they're basically building all these buildings for nothing, because we're switching from the old matrix software hard drive system to the new golden age, which is frequency, right? Yeah, that's what's happening. So true. Every smartphone right now is not really a smartphone, has data built in. Yes, I know. And I'm looking forward to the new Q phones. The smartphone is going to be flushed out. They won't serve a purpose anymore. We're going to be there's going to be a big recycling system. I mean, if you want to invest and get a system going where all these phones can be taken apart for their gold and silver, then that'd be a nice little business to have. Yeah, because the phone industry of the old is going to be gone. Even our phones is part of the matrix, and that's why they're going to be disappearing. So God has a plan for us. He's going to. This is what's going to happen. I believe. This is just my own thoughts. I believe they've got 7.5, 8 billion phones ready to hand out for every person on the planet. Good, bad, transgender, leftist, retard, whatever you are. Conservative rights, just everyday normal people, sleepers, NBCs, everybody's going to get one. And it's what you do with that phone, that is going to be the spyware. So if you're not doing good things, I mean, let's just go back and think what McCaffrey did, okay? He gave a whole bunch of laptops out to all the, politicians and governors and senators and whoever it was, and he did spyware on them, and he was, he's basically doing surveillance on them, and was able to flush out a whole bunch of bad, secret communications. And that's why they were so hard pressed to take him out. And that's why he was on the run for a year and a half or whatever. They wanted him gone because he had the key to the kingdom, their kingdom. And he was ready, he could have exposed them any time. Well, this is exactly what's happening with the Q phones. If you're doing good, you got nothing to hide. You're transparent. You just go out there and do the things you're doing. And they're not talking about, any things that's mischievous stuff and like that, whatever. But if you're doing things that is going to help the cabal or the matrix in any way, you're going to be shut down. And that's just where going to be another, even after the EBS and whatever goes on, they're surveilling it right now. Their major arrests are going on right now. Exactly what they are, Christina. They're matrix phones, and they're surveilling us now, anyways. This stuff, this hard drive right now, because they call them smartphones. Why do they call them smartphones? Because they're surveilling us and everything that we're doing. It's all to do with algorithm. And what's the difference between being surveilled by the Matrix, or you want to be surveilled by the Global Alliance to make sure you're doing the right thing with your money and your thought pattern? This is only to catch the bad people, the bad ones. If you've got hate in your heart and you're on a low frequency, and this is why I say we have to get down on our knees and pray to our God, okay, and pray to ourselves to forgive. Anybody that has messed with you before in the past, you must forgive them. That's why I'm saying it's so important. I've been working on that for a whole month, saying, yes, I forgive. I forgive everything that has happened to me and who has not done evil things to me before in the past. I forgive them. And I've been exposed to some pretty bad things in my life. Yeah. Case in point, I don't even want to go there. Okay, good. Space Force is recording everything right now, anyways. Exactly. Of course they are. They're and the real bad ones, the ones that are really causing havoc and violence, they're being taken out. There should be a lot of very, very nervous people right now because our commander has cut loose the AI data mining. They cut it loose. It's gone. Now it's searching for all the secret communications and treasonous operations that were going on around the world, going back as far as the Clinton, even going back to the Bushes. But a lot of them are gone, but they're getting the proxies that were communication, knowing where the money was gone. Where is the money? Where's all the hiding places? Well, there's no places that they can hide now because everything has been exposed. Good. That's great. Yes, we're being followed and monitored, but they're not worried about the, God's people. We're not worried about, the Christ conscious people. We're the ones that are doing the things that are doing to bring the communities together of all the like-minded and good-hearted people. It's got nothing to do with us anymore. The bad ones should be worried. And I'm talking about, I don't care what kind of uniform you got on. I don't care. I don't care what position you have in this world. If you've been doing evil things to do things against the Constitution or harm against people of any way, then, your days are numbered. Do you think the Clarity Act will pass? Yes, I do. But, it's like I said before, it's the Democrats are damned if they do and damned if they don't. If they do pass it, then they're going to be exposed. But they're doing it, they're already exposed anyways. They don't even know it, but they're already exposed. But all this shows them is that they're, if they don't pass it, then they're siding with the Russians, which in their eyes is Russia's their arch enemy. Yeah. And I just want to catch this one here. They know that we are patriots, God's children, and we are His chosen, and we are ready to fight till the end. Thank you, Sean. They know that. We've already got God's won already. God's won. And the whatever's left that's on this planet are going to get a very, very rude awakening. When these banks shut down, they're going to be shut down. People are going to be thinking, oh, my money's gone, whatever. You had no money in there to begin with because they got no money. It's already gone. You should have been pulling your money out years and years ago. Even months ago would have helped. But you should be pulling it out now Maybe some of it might be returned to you. I don't know how this is going to play out. But, why should I put my faith in something that's going to shut down by putting my investment into something that's going to close the doors? I don't care what they say. Quite frankly, I have not trusted a fiat currency for some many years. So, I myself am trying to get rid of all my paper money. Trump right now is telling the enemy. He's telling the enemy right now, oh, you're doing so good. He has to be in their camp. He's telling, Netanyahu and all the rest of them. They just finished taking over and getting control of some station south of Tehran in Iran, which they needed. That was a cabal stronghold. Very, very important strategic value there. Military. And they got control of that. So the Persian people are going to be liberated very, very soon, which is, that they're going to be dancing in the streets that they are liberated. Okay. They're going to be, they're right now are asking Trump to, to start releasing, giving them guns and ammo so we can fight. But I don't know what's happening there. We're not going to see, what Trump has decided there, whether he's going to, get to a certain point and then let the people take over, because it's them to, it's up to them to, liberate their country, and maybe Trump might do that. All right. So because the armies of Iran, have been persecuting the Persian people of Iran. We shouldn't call Iran Iran. We should call it Persia. Exactly what it's, what it was identified as in the Bible, Persia. Because the Persian people are good. They're honest, hardworking people. I've met many of them on plane flights, and they've always been watched and surveilled by the cabal very closely, because they didn't know if they had Persian people, because there was a power struggle inside of Iran back in the 80s and 90s and even before, when I remember when all of them were kidnapped, the embassy was taken over and all that stuff. I remember it very clearly back in the 80s. And then all the Persian people that, were doing out business and whatever, they were surveilled by the, by the Iranian cabal, whatever they were doing around the world, because they thought that they were committing treason, going against their, their system or their Iranian warlords in Iran. And they had to keep close surveillance on them. And I met them, and they were telling me stories about that when I was, because we had workers from Iran that I was working with in the construction. And that's how I got to know these guys. They were telling me stories that I just was shaking my head. But, they made it very, very clear that they were Persian, not Iranian. That's just the way that is. Now, like I said, quantum does not have hard drives. Okay? Quantum is all about frequencies. And that's what we're going to, we're moving out of the old hard drive era, the old, it's like we're going from the Model A, to the Ferrari. That's what's happening in cars. We're just moving out of the old classic cars into the new sports cars. And we're just going to leave our phones behind. Leave our old identity, our old matrix, our old straw man, leave it all behind. And we're going to be, crystalline beings. This is our advancement. This is our whole role playing. We're upgrading our whole identity. We're upgrading our whole frequency, our vibration. This is why it's so damn exciting. Data centers, like I said, are being built all around the world, they're trying to burn things down to build this, and Trump's saying, "Oh yeah, whatever you're doing, we're just going to let you basically, sign your own arrest warrant." And there's a lot of stuff that's being done right now, thinking they're going to be able to get away with it. There is collateral damage. We're watching a movie right now, and some of the movies are frickin' nightmare. Some of the movies, comedy show. But no matter what, we're in this movie, and we, cannot be a part of it. We have to realize that all these actors out there are all the original actors and stage performers and all these other ones. They're all been replaced, except for maybe the old psychopaths that don't have really are probably not in touch with reality, their reality. That they're only in touch with their matrix. They live kind of in a bubble, so they're old and washed up, and they're trying to still sing on stage. They got one foot in the grave and the other one on a banana peel. And I can name a whole bunch of performers out there like that. Elton John, Rod Stewart, David Lee Roth, all of them. They're just letting them play whatever they want to play, and they have sold their soul a long time ago, and they're probably not, because of the things that they have done in the past, they're not going to be part of the future. Okay? Basically, Trump is helping all the corporations on the planet burn their own money because it's all fiat currency. Okay? When do you believe something would happen for the people to see that things are happening? Well, things are happening every day. We just have to, this is a covert operation. It's a military operation. So they're not just going to come out and tell you. You have to listen to people like, Gene Decode and Michael Jaco was a good source if you want to go to Galactics. There's lots of people talking Galactic stuff. Gene Decode is, Kerry Cassidy is talking Galactic stuff. Ishmael Perez, a lot of good. He's getting, he's dropping the hammer on the nail. A lot of good information coming out with that stuff right now. And it's just basically, we have to, learn on a daily basis and start, gathering that information and whatever's assimilating with you. Bad guys hate you. You know why they hate you? Because you got a soul. You're connected with Source. You're advancing. Your whole frequency and your whole vibration is going, to a place that they'll never be able to get to. This is why they're trying to destroy you. They're trying to destroy us in poisons and air poisons and food and water in the ground that we walk on. They want to kill us all. It's very, very apparent what they're trying to do. Now you can't even, they're even trying to poison the fruits and the vegetables and the stuff that we got to eat. We got to avoid it all. Because, if they can't have it, nobody's going to get it. That's their whole attitude. Yeah. And we have to stay out of their, their target, their sights, and just let them wither away. They are like the Wicked Witch of the North that's going to melt very, very soon. They're melting now. Okay? The bad guys, like it says, Trump is doing everything he can by saying, yeah, you go ahead and invest in this and invest in that and do whatever you're doing. Keep expanding, keep blowing your money, because all of it's going to be torn down, and won't be anything of the Matrix in the coming years. You're going to see all the Matrix disappear. There will not be countries with borders. There's going to be kingdoms brought together. I believe there won't be any, there will be probably a global alliance military, but they'll be attached to the Space Force. We've got control of this now. They do not have control of what we are doing. Okay? Now, like I said, The thing is about the Clarity Act. I believe the Clarity Act will go through, and it'll go through very shortly, because it's going to go up against the rest of the world is moving forward with the Clarity Acts. So is Trump doing this to design, or as a design, to bring down the old fiat currency? Possibly. There will be a lot of pain before we get to the, to the other side, right? So who knows?